What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another POV. If you couldn't tell from the title and intro of this video, we're taking a stroll around Covent Garden in the mid-morning sun. On the day, the lighting was incredibly harsh, and being around midday, it was creating some really interesting shadows. So that's going to be a big focus of today's POV, trying to use those shadows to our advantage and create some interesting compositions with them. Towards the end of the video, I get some of my favourite images, so make sure you stick around for those. In today's video, we're going to be taking a new lens for a spin, and that lens is the Viltrox 25mm f1.7. So that's probably about a 37.5mm full frame equivalent. After being so impressed with the 56mm S series offering from Viltrox, it was only natural when I was looking for something a little bit wider, I instantly gravitated towards this lens. For this video, I've paired it, as always, with my Fujifilm X-S10. In the coming weeks, I'm planning on putting together a first impressions video about this lens, so let me know in the comments if that's something you'd be interested in. I don't often shoot around this focal length, so I found it a little bit more challenging than what I'm used to, but I really enjoyed incorporating a little bit more of the scene into the images and telling a little bit more of the story about what was going on. So as I'm walking around, I'm just looking for pockets of light and trying to make use of the light and all of the architecture around here. It's creating some really nice pockets of light on the floor from the shadows, and here I'm just trying to use those as leading lines to lead to some of the subjects in the images. Trying to create a sense of perspective, using the wider field of view to create a bit more of isolation to my subjects, and then using those leading lines from the shadows of the columns to kind of lead towards those subjects further down I don't even know what you call it, this area here with all the columns. As I was walking over here, I noticed these two phone boxes, and I wanted to try and use them to create some framings and reflections of people walking by. So these initial images here, the subjects that you actually see that I'm framing are walking behind me. So I'm using the reflections to frame those subjects through that. Just trying to find different ways to use this phone box to add a little bit more creativity and interest to the images. Same again here, just trying to use the leading lines from the framing to draw your eye towards those subjects walking past in the framing, and also using the phone box as just a frame for people on the other side of them, like that image there. I'll just flash it back up on the screen now. And with this one, I just really like the way that the phone box is framing them, but you've got all of the layers from the reflections on the glass on this side of the phone box, the reflections on the other side of the phone box, but then you've also got the subjects on the other side using their mobile phones and interacting with the world, just creating multiple elements and multiple layers of interest to those images. One thing that I've really enjoyed experimenting with lately is, especially when it comes to editing on imagery where there's really bright light and really dark shadows, it lends itself well to harsh light environments, but it's edited in black and white because you get this really nice balance between the crisp brightness but then the really deep dark shadows. So let me know if you've been enjoying some of the black and white edits in this video in the comments below. As I touched on in the last video, I'm shooting most of these videos now in manual, fully manual, just setting, especially with lighting conditions like this where the sun's not going behind a cloud, the lighting's quite consistent. I found it so much easier to shoot in manual mode and just kind of set and forget, set my aperture, set my shutter speed to somewhere I'm happy with for the conditions, and then kind of leave it where it is for the most part and just enjoy the process of creating and making photographs. So with these shots here, I was liking what was happening shooting from the inside with the dark leading towards the bright outside, but I just wanted to try and get a little bit more of that texture from the flooring, so I was just crouching down, just trying to incorporate a little bit more of the details that were about and in the scene. So I just thought I'd venture out a little bit further afield to the surrounding areas, still in the confines of Covent Garden, but just following some of these pockets of light and how the light was hitting this pathway over here and creating some really nice shadows from the subjects being lit from that kind of front right corner, almost lighting them in a 45-degree direction, and it was creating some really nice wraparound lighting. It was a little quiet at the time, so I took the opportunity to kind of take a little stroll away just to see what else was happening. But you can see as I'm walking down here, there is a lot more shadow from the buildings kind of covering the entirety of the street. So I decided to turn back and try and give this area here another go. And sometimes that's the way that it just works. You have an idea to go to a place, but then when you get there, it kind of not vibing the way that you want it to. So I went back here, got a bit lower, trying to incorporate a little bit more of that shadow from in the foreground, but then creating the layers with that, the light, and then also the subjects crossing the frame. While I was waiting here, I did wait a little while, but I wanted to try and capture something similar to I caught in an image in a few videos back, and that was I was looking forward to somebody walking across the frame in front of the camera quite close, so you can use their legs, and I happened to time this one quite well in the sense of I'd not spotted that lady about to cross, but I'd positioned my camera a lot lower, trying to get a lot lower to the ground to help with that perception of depth, and then she crossed the frame in that, and I just felt it was one of them really lucky moments for what was going on. And I think the image itself turned out really nice as well. As I was walking back this way, I couldn't help but not spot this red umbrella, and especially with it being such a bright sunny day, seen somebody using an umbrella for shade, but in such a bright colour, it stuck out in the environment, especially with all the flowers around it. I wanted to try and create a composition that incorporated that umbrella into the scene, but also maximising the use of colour from the flowers that were around. Here, just trying to find different perspectives to create different feels to the image, and I really like those last two, especially with the way that the light was hitting them on the front side and shooting from the shadow side of the subject. For a change, I tried to incorporate a little bit more video into this photo walk to add a little B-roll to the intros, so let me know what you thought of the new intro, or do you prefer seeing a snapshot of some of the images to come in the video? Let me know in the comments below. I think these images coming up now have to be in my top 3 from the video, and I just really like the colour contrast between the lady in her dress and the hair, especially alongside the flowers, and then also the colour combination between everything that was in there. There was just such a harmonious feeling of all the colours and everything as she was looking over the balcony, using the railings as a bit of a leading line to draw the eye through the image, but using her as a bit of an anchor in that image. Images like that, it's something where I think as a photographer sometimes we try and justify the thought process or the composition and claim that everything was intentional and everything was meant to be that way. But sometimes, especially in street photography, the images that you capture are just raw. They are what happened on that day. It's what caught your eye, it's what caught your attention, and those are the things that you were drawn to. For the most part, I'm just trying to capture what I see on the day and what I was experiencing. These final couple of images now are definitely some of my favourites from the walk, if not the favourite from the walks. I just love the way the contrast between the light and the dark. There's a bit of a mystery behind the subjects that were in there, but you're capturing such, or you're telling such a story of what was going on in that moment. After this, my action cam actually ran out of battery, so I'm just going to finish off with a few extra images from the walk, and I hope you've enjoyed this kind of stroll around Covent Garden. I know we didn't venture far in this video, but I just wanted to demonstrate you don't need to kind of go on a massive walk to get some really interesting images. You can kind of pick a location and just enjoy yourself, get out with your camera and have some fun. And with all that said and done, I'll catch you in the next one.